After receiving photos of my husband cheating, I lost control of my emotions and had a miscarriage. But I caught him holding the cold little plum, asking after its health, and accusing me of being pretentious when I should be grateful for being pregnant. I was determined to divorce him, and transferred the child to his belly, so that he could experience the blessing of pregnancy. Lucy C. was lying on the hospital bed, too weak to speak, and said, "Sister, don't blame him. He's just worried that I can't take care of myself alone." Feng Yuan rushed over to Lu Cece, who was holding her in her arms, and shouted at me, "She's just a little girl, and she has no one to take care of her when she has a cold and a fever. You're just pregnant, so what's so great about that? Just pregnant." All kinds of reactions to the discomforts of pregnancy came flooding back at that moment, and I nearly couldn't stand up. Because of the morning sickness, I hadn't been able to eat a proper meal for a long time, and every day I had to drink greasy and disgusting tonics. My swollen legs and dark circles under my eyes, which were becoming more and more obvious due to lack of sleep. The suffering I endured because he wanted a child was all just fussiness. I walked up to him and slapped him twice. I wanted to say something, but I had to hold back the morning sickness as it stuck in my throat. The two in front of me were obviously stunned. Feng stayed where he was, and his little green plum, Lu Cece, hurriedly got up to check his red and swollen cheeks. "Sister, it's all my fault. You can hit me and scold me, but how can you hit Chang'e?" Lu Cece's voice trembled slightly, with a hint of a sob. Feng looked at me with anger flashing in his eyes, and raised his right hand, then lowered it again. "Feng, you want to hit me?" I looked at him, unable to believe it. In the past, Feng had always been gentle and caring towards me, paying attention to all my emotions. Whenever he noticed that he had made me angry, he would immediately hold me in his arms and comfort me. He had said that if he made an unforgivable mistake, I would be responsible for slapping him to wake him up. But the equation in front of me forgot that he actually wanted to hit me for another woman. The equation frowned and said impatiently, "Okay, Lin Yuan, you've hit me and vented your anger, so it should be over now. Cece is just a little girl, and you're such a big man. Why are you angry with a little girl?" Lu Cece is indeed a little girl, fresh out of college, blooming like a flower with boundless vitality. It's just that I'm only 2 years older than Lu Cece. Lu Cece, bed 21, is going to have an infusion. A nurse knocked on the door outside to remind him. Equation carefully helped Lu Cece out of the ward, leaving just one sentence. "If you're pregnant, just stay at home and don't follow me around suspiciously all day." Follow him. He didn't even ask me why I was in the hospital, and directly jumped to the conclusion that I was following him. He even ignored the medical record book I was holding in my hands. I watched the two of them walk away, lost in thought, and went home. When did it start that I was no longer in Feng's eyes? It seemed to be that rainy day, when Lu Cece appeared at the door drenched. I opened the door in surprise and looked at her, but she ignored me and rushed into the house, hugging Feng and crying. Feng wrapped her in a blanket on the sofa, took Lu Cece into the bathroom to give her a hot bath, and then went to the kitchen to make ginger tea. He didn't notice that I was still standing in the doorway, and the rain soaked my thin pajamas through the open door. That was a blanket I had knitted for Feng with my own hands, and it had taken me 3 whole months. At the time, he patiently explained, "Cece is 5 years younger than me, and our families have been close since we were little. I've always treated her like a younger sister, and there's absolutely nothing else to it." After that, Lu Cece gradually invaded our lives in the name of a younger sister and occupied Feng's attention. The patient explanations gradually turned into a justifiable "what's wrong with me taking care of my younger sister more." When Feng once again returned home in the middle of the night because of Lu Cece, I argued with him, telling him to stay away from Lu Cece. However, he felt that I was being unreasonable and looked at me calmly. After I had shouted myself hoarse, he spoke lightly. "Have you had enough? Can you be sensible and stop being so petty and jealous of a young girl?" Feeling that he had spoken harshly, he added gently, "Okay, I'll forgive you this time. After that, I learned to be sensible. I stopped asking where Fong had gone and why he wasn't home yet, and kept watch over the increasingly quiet home. Until I discovered that I was pregnant. Fong excitedly hugged me and cheered, sending me little surprises every other day and taking great care of me. I thought that Fong had come to his senses and that we could finally live happily ever after. But then I received an anonymous photo of Fong and Lu Cece lying in the same bed. I called Fong countless times, but there was always just one response. Hello. The user you have dialed is not answering. I lost control of my emotions and fainted on the road. When I opened my eyes again, I saw the tiny fetus lying on the operating table. The doctor told me that the baby was gone. When I left, I ran into the scene from earlier in the corner of the ward. I sat on the sofa in the living room, guarding the empty home as I always did. The wedding photos were hanging on the living room wall, the afterglow of the sun dividing the boundaries between light and dark. With this marriage riddled with problems, should I continue at all? The door suddenly opened, and the first thing to enter was a sweet female voice. Brother Chung, your sister won't be angry if you let me stay at your place. What else can she be angry about? She's always suspicious and crazy. You're my sister, so take care of her a bit. What's wrong? She just can't learn to be generous, so petty. The two walked in side by side, acting affectionately. Compared to me, who has been married for 3 years, they looked more like a couple. It was really laughable. I stared coldly at my husband. Cece still has a fever, so I'm not at ease leaving her alone in the hospital. She's been staying at home recently. I'm really sorry to trouble you, sister. They sang in unison, really in sync. How come I didn't know you were the reincarnation of Hua Tua? What do you mean? Fong was puzzled. You don't trust the professional nurses and doctors on duty at the hospital. So what are you if you're not the reincarnation of Hua Tua? Is her family dead? You're the only one who can take care of her. Lu Cece's face suddenly turned ugly, her eyes red, and the next second she burst into tears. I'm sorry, sister, I've made you angry again. I'll go now. Feng Xiu held her back and pointed at me, scolding, You bad woman. I'm just taking a little more care of Cece, and you curse her like this. Fine, you want to take care of her, right? I'll pack my things and leave, making room for the two of you. The anger that had been building up for a long time welled up in my head, and I quickly walked into the bedroom. There were too many things, so I chose one by one and stuffed the important ones into the suitcase. When I pulled the suitcase out, Feng Xiu was carrying 2 dishes from the kitchen. Stop it! Who are you trying to scare with that empty suitcase? Come and eat. When we were in love and arguing the most, I would always threaten to leave with an empty suitcase, standing outside the bedroom door waiting for him to come and make up with me. He would say something soft, and I would immediately make up with him without any pride. So he naturally thought that this time I was just acting out of temper. I ignored him and walked straight to the entrance with the suitcase. Lin Yuan, how long are you going to be unreasonable? I pointed to the 3rd bowl of seafood congee on the table. Fong, do you remember that I'm allergic to seafood? Fong was taken aback and touched his nose sheepishly. I'll just make you another bowl of noodles. Fong, I don't like dried noodles. He suddenly became angry and slammed the bowl of seafood congee on the ground. Eat it or not, so many problems. Disappointment built up into a high wall, and when the last brick fell, the only love left in my heart was sealed away. I turned around and left neatly, hearing Lu Cece's soft and gentle words of persuasion behind me. And if you want to go, just go. I'll see how she begs me when the time comes. I walked in the night, not knowing where to go. My encounter with Fengqing was due to a summer vacation. My family was well off, and I had planned to travel the world. But my best friend begged me to open a cake shop with her, and I gave in. She took care of the cakes in the kitchen, and I took care of the customers at the front desk. Business was unexpectedly booming, and our competitors were furious. They sent a tough thug to our shop to cause trouble. There were only girls in the shop, and the thug got more and more emboldened, until he picked up a nearby chair and started smashing the shop. Just as the chair was about to fall on my head, Fong appeared from the sky. After that, Fong often came to the store to buy cakes and asked me out. At that time, Fong was funny and humorous, and had empathy for the disadvantaged, which matched all the fantasies girls had about their true love. One day, he missed a deal worth tens of millions of dollars in order to help a pregnant woman. I asked him why, and he gave a gentle smile and said slowly, "It's not easy for a pregnant woman to be alone." I had never been in a relationship before, and I was moved and accepted his confession. It all went too smoothly, and I thought I had met true love and married him regardless. After we got married, Fong advised me to stay at home and be a relaxing rich wife. But being a rich wife is not that easy. Every day I had to take various interest classes and learn different skills in order to be able to speak in the wives' circle and help Fong find out all kinds of business insider information. I lost my job, I was away from my friends, and I was afraid to see my parents. Back then they strongly opposed this marriage, and it was me who forced myself to marry Fong at home. The Lin family's eldest daughter is going to die for a man. They were so angry that they didn't even attend my wedding. How can I have the face to cry about what's happened to me today? Who would have thought that the man who once told me that being pregnant was not easy would now be pointing at me and saying, "You're just pregnant. What a blessing. What a fuss." Yuan. A familiar voice sounded from behind me. I didn't dare turn around and walked quickly forward. Yuan, where are you going? My suitcase was pulled and my face was held by my brother. Why are you crying? It's so cold. Why are you wandering around alone? My brother took me home, and I cried as I told my family about what had happened. That bastard. I'll go and sort him out. My brother grabbed the car keys and was about to go out, but I quickly grabbed hold of him. No. My brother looked displeased. You still want to protect him after all this? Yes, Yuan. How dare he bully my daughter? He must be tired of living. My parents' tone was full of indignation. I looked at my family, whom I hadn't seen for a long time, and a wave of warmth swept over my body. No matter what I did wrong, there would always be family members behind me to protect me. I told you from the beginning that this guy was no good, but you insisted on marrying him. Divorce. Tomorrow I'll take you to that animal and get a divorce. I took a deep breath and said solemnly, Mom, Dad, and brother, I was wrong. I shouldn't have disobeyed you, but I want to handle this on my own. The three of them looked at each other for a long time before nodding in agreement. Okay, but if there's any problem, you must tell us immediately. After taking a nice hot bath, I went into the room I had lived in before I got married. The furnishings were still the same as before, without any traces of dust. I lay on the bed and pondered, when suddenly I felt my phone vibrate. It was Fong's mother calling. Yuan, it's me. What is it, mother-in-law? I heard about what happened today. I still scolded Fong equation for you, and he promised me that it would never happen again. He was just looking after his sister, and didn't mean anything by it. I was silent. The Fong family is snobbish. At that wedding, which no one from my family attended, and given our social status, they decided that I had no background, was disliked by my family, and could not help Fong equation in any way. As the daughter of the Lin family, I have always been the center of attention. After marrying Fong, I lost this status, and almost everyone in the Fong family disliked me and treated me like air. I tried my best to please them, kept my head down and put up with their rudeness, and worked hard to blend in with the circle of wealthy ladies and become the center of attention, to prove that I could be a help to Fong, and only then did I earn this basic respect. Whenever Fong and I had a fight, Fong's mother would intervene, but I could tell that she was biased towards her son. Yuan, you're so kind, so forgive him. He's just being overly kind. Is there anything else? If not, I'll hang up. Hey, don't forget it's your grandfather's birthday tomorrow. Can you really invite Master Wang? Sure enough, there was something she wanted in this call. It is time to choose the next successor. The Fong family has many descendants, all of whom are trying hard to please the old master. Master Wang is the old master's favorite painter, but at the age of only 50, he no longer paints easily. In order to invite this master, I have been squatting in front of his house for 2 months without seeing him once. By chance, I met Mrs. Wang by the lake. With the skills I have learned over the years, I had a good chat with her, and a month later successfully asked Master Wang to come out of retirement through Mrs. Wang. Of course. Great. You've been through a lot today. Tomorrow, let Feng Chong apologize to you, okay? Sure. I've already thought of how he can apologize to me. I looked at the list of doctors at my hospital on the computer, a Dr. Lee who specialized in sex change. Before I even reached the parlor of the Fong family mansion, I could hear the joyful laughter inside. Cece, you're getting more and more beautiful. Cece and Fong are such a perfect match. It's a pity. Auntie, don't say any more. Chung is already married. What did I say wrong? Cece graduated from a prestigious university. She's beautiful, and her family background is perfect. It would be great if Fong married you. As I listened to the chorus of praise, I sneered inwardly. I too had graduated from a prestigious university and was not unattractive. But in order to fit in with this family, I had worked hard for 3 years, doing my best to be perfect at everything I could and doing my best to complete the tasks I couldn't. Even so, in the Fong family, I didn't even fare as well as a servant. And Lu Cece, with her superior family background, didn't even have to do anything to easily gain the respect and love of everyone. How ridiculous! I walked over and appeared in front of everyone. The lively atmosphere suddenly dissipated, and there was silence. Ah, Lin Yuan is back. Come over and sit down. Look at you. What are you doing standing there? Don't tire the child. Fong's mother invited me to sit down. See, such polite words are still for the child that once lived in my womb. Thinking about the child, my heart ached. After learning of my pregnancy, the Fong family's attitude towards me improved significantly, and they stopped being indifferent to me. I had sincerely looked forward to the arrival of this child, but Fong Chong ruined everything. Humph. Yesterday you were so stubborn, but today you're here with your eyes wide open. Fong Chong snorted. Fong Chong, come over here and apologize. Fong's mother instructed. Mom, a family should be harmonious. How can a couple still have a grudge from the previous night? Fong, is this how you were brought up? You can't even apologize. I suddenly spoke up and questioned. I didn't do anything wrong, so why should I apologize? Yes, Lin Yuan, he's just being kind and wants to take care of his sister more. It's all trivial. Fong's mother tried to gloss things over, but I wouldn't let her have her way. So you're saying that you're fine with your husband spending the night with another woman regularly, and that this woman can hug your husband at will and live in your home? There was an uproar. I've heard that Fong and Lu Cece have been getting close recently, but I didn't realize it had reached this point. Isn't this blatant cuckoldry? And he's even brought it into the home. Lin Yuan is so pitiful, working so hard to support the whole Fong family, and in the end she can't even get a kind word from anyone in the family. Listening to the guests' comments, the Fong family's pride was clearly at stake. What are you talking about? I consider Cece to be my younger sister. Younger sister? What younger sister? Someone you can cuddle and comfort. Oh, you mean a mistress. Lin Yuan, when are you going to learn to be sensible? Daydreaming and making wild guesses all day long. What do you want me to be sensible about? Congratulate you on growing old together and staying in love forever. Fong was stumped and only managed to blurt out, You jealous woman. Sister, it's all my fault. If you're angry, take it out on me. Hit me, scold me, whatever you want. Just don't blame Changgu anymore. Lu Cece's eyes were slightly red, and her soft tone made Fong Equation's heart soften. Cece is so kind, and she took the blame even though she was clearly in the wrong. If I had married Cece in the first place, that would have been great. I don't actually have much hatred for Lu Cece. The reason this marriage has turned out the way it has is entirely because Fong Chong has changed his heart. If Fong Chong can control his heart, then even if there are 1,000 Lu Ceces, they will be no match for him. Cece, don't say that. It's all her petty and vicious heart. It has nothing to do with you. I'm petty and vicious. Even after hearing so many unheard of things, this sentence still stung my heart deeply. Looking at the hypocritical face in front of me, my heart ached. In a rage, I went up to him and gave him 2 hard slaps, sending Fong Quan to the sofa behind him. Pa! Pa! It was so sudden that no one around reacted. You! How can you hit my son? Fong's mother, heartbroken, checked Fong Quan's injuries and angrily pointed at me and shouted, "What a bad woman! What a bad woman! My son only did you a kindness and you hurt him like this. Divorce! I want you to divorce my son. You get nothing. Auntie, that's not good. Your sister is pregnant with Chung Ji's child." I looked at Lu Cece in surprise. Then wait until she gives birth to the child, and then kick her out of the Fong family. Huh. I couldn't help but snicker. What are you laughing at? Laughing at you daydreaming. You want me to leave the Fong family, and you're still thinking about the child in my belly. My words woke up the guests nearby. Exactly. How can there be such a good thing? You're getting a divorce, but you want her to leave after having a child. Lin Yuan has been married into the Fong family for 3 years. She has done some hard work, even if she hasn't done anything good. How can she be divorced and have everything taken away from her? This Fong family is shameless. They want to take advantage of a young, innocent woman and take everything from her. Seeing that everyone was on my side, Fong was unable to remain seated. With a red and swollen face, he said, "Don't think I don't know that you married me just for the Fong family's money. After getting married, you couldn't wait to quit your job as a cake shop clerk and become a rich man's wife. You covet the Fong family's wealth and glory, and you can't bear to divorce me." I looked at Fong with disbelief. How could he say such words that turned right into wrong? Fong was probably feeling guilty, and after he finished speaking, he looked down and didn't dare to look at me. Oh, I never thought that Lin Yuan was just a cake shop clerk. From the way she carries herself, I would have thought she was a lady from a noble family. So that means the Fong family is also very generous, letting their son marry an ordinary person. Hey, it's understandable that they would make this kind of person empty-handed. After all, this kind of gold-digging woman might demand an astronomical amount of money in a divorce. Like a grasshopper on the wall, everyone is turning to the Fong family. In my opinion, Lu Cece and Fong Chong are a perfect match. Handsome man, beautiful woman, they really are a perfect match. Yes, hurry up and get a divorce. Hearing the defections of the crowd, Fong Chong hardened a little, looking back with a provocative air. Shameful. The love I have chewed over and over, all my fond memories, have been reduced to ashes at this moment. I had originally wanted to spare Fong Chong some face, but it seems he doesn't need it. He is utterly shameless. Wait until you give birth to the child and then divorce. I'll take the child and I'll give you a regular monthly payment. Fong looked generous. Child? You killed my child a long time ago. What are you talking about? My child died when you were in bed with Lu Cece. Thinking of the child that was once inside me, I felt sad and angry. What? You were in bed together before you got divorced. Isn't that cheating? You cheated on your husband and you still care about the child he fathered. Lin Yuan is so miserable, to be stuck with such a shameless family. Sister, it was obvious that you were going in and out of the hotel with another man. That's why Chung was drunk and didn't want to go home and see you. Lu Cece blinked her big innocent eyes, as if to confirm what had happened. That's right. Cece and I saw you enter the hotel with a lover that day. You're such an unprincipled woman, and you're pregnant, but you can't wait to go into a hotel with a man. Which man? The man in the gray suit the afternoon before yesterday. What man? That's my brother. The afternoon before yesterday, in order to ensure that Master Wong would really come out of retirement, I shamelessly contacted my brother, whom I hadn't seen for a long time, and wanted to use the Lin family's status as an added guarantee. Unexpectedly, my sincere intentions became a reason for Fong to slander me. What brother? I didn't know you had a brother. You're full of lies. Someone, lock up this vicious woman and don't let her dirty the eyes of our guests. The servants of the Fong family came forward and grabbed my hand, ready to drag me outside. Who dares bully my daughter? My parents and brother appeared in the doorway. This is President Lin. That's the president of Lin Real Estate. Lin Yuan is actually the daughter of Lin. Why didn't the Fong family ever mention it? Fong Mu was surprised and spoke with a trembling voice. Lin Yuan, you are President Lin's daughter? Everyone present was shocked, except Fong Formula. When we were about to get married, I honestly explained my background to him, saying that my parents were very unsupportive of our marriage, but I was willing to give up everything in the Lin family and marry him. At that time, Fong held me tightly, tears sliding down my shoulders, and promised me with tears that he would never betray me in this life, and that he would definitely make me more prosperous in the Fong family than I had been in the Lin family. Because of this unspeakable identity, Fong was often reprimanded by Fong's mother. For the sake of a vixen, he gave up the Lu family's help, which caused him to have no say in the Fong family and not carry any weight in the old man's heart. Over time, he began to blame me, asking me to reconcile with my parents and confess my true identity. I had no face to do such a thing, so I could only hope elsewhere. Fong, this is how you treat my daughter after she married you. My father's eyes looked at me as I was dragged away by the servants. Let go. Fong hurriedly stepped back from the servants and tried to protect me in his arms. I pushed him away and slapped him again with all my strength on his red and swollen face. This time, he didn't even dare to get angry. He stood still like a puppy, looking at me with grievances and tearful eyes. He knew that I was a soft-hearted person and could not bear to see him cry. I was indeed soft-hearted, but I was not a saint, and I felt pain for someone who trampled on my full of love. The fish is still at the bottom of the pond, and I decide to lower another fishing hook. I say word for word in case Fangcheng can't hear me clearly, tomorrow morning at 9, in front of the Civil Affairs Bureau divorce. If you don't come, I'll make someone drag you here. Then I leave without looking back. At 9 o'clock the next morning, I see Fangcheng as promised in front of the Civil Affairs Bureau. Yesterday's 4 slaps were too hard, and there are still red marks on Fangcheng's face. Yuan, can we not get a divorce? Fangcheng was about to say something else, but I interrupted him before he could. I used to wonder when you stopped seeing me. It seems to have been on a rainy day like this. I heard someone knocking at the door, and when I opened it, Lu Cece rushed in and hugged you. You gave her the blanket I had knitted for 3 months and put hot water on for her to make ginger tea. Before that, you would get angry if anyone touched the blanket. I'm sorry, You were so worried about Lu Cece that you didn't notice that I was standing outside the door in my pajamas, drenched in the rain. Since then, I've been alone in an empty house. Admit it, Fangcheng, you stopped loving me a long time ago. So stop saying those disgusting things to me and hurry up. After getting my hands on the fuchsia divorce certificate, the mountain that had been weighing on me finally collapsed with a loud crash, and I let out a long, happy breath. Yuan, I'm sorry. Will you forgive me? I'll do whatever you want. I really can't live without you. Fong Equation carefully pinched the hem of my jacket, his eyes red with tears. The fish is hooked. Okay, my mouth corners curled up. Really? Then let's. If you want me to forgive you, you have to go somewhere with me. Okay. As long as you can forgive me, I'll go anywhere. At the Lin family's private hospital, I led Fong into Dr. Li's office. Dr. Li, this is the person I told you about. Dr. Li stood up and looked Fong up and down. Well, it seems that he meets the requirements for surgery. Fong grabbed the hem of my shirt a little uneasily. Yuan, what kind of surgery? I held Fong gently, resisting the urge to vomit, and whispered a seductive line. Didn't you say that you would do anything to make me forgive you? As long as you give me a child back, I will forgive you. Okay. Everything went smoothly from there. Equation assured the doctor that he was voluntarily undergoing gender reassignment and signed the agreement. Lying in the operating room, he had an artificial womb implanted, along with a test tube embryo. I pretended to forgive Equation and engaged in a perfunctory relationship with him. Equation, in order to keep his family in the dark, moved into one of my properties in the suburbs. The months grew longer and longer, and Equation began to suffer from frequent morning sickness, swollen lower limbs, and various other uncomfortable reactions, which he often complained about to me. Yuan, I feel so bad. Can you rub my legs for me? Yuan, I'm nauseous and can't eat. Can you change to something lighter? Yuan, can you come keep me company? I can't sleep because I feel so bad. And I imitated what he had done before. Fong, being pregnant is such a blessing. What are you being so pretentious about? How long are you going to be unreasonable? Why can't you learn to be sensible? Until I became impatient and looked at him indifferently without saying anything while he yelled and screamed. He slammed a photo on the table and cried, questioning me, who is this man? Why is he sitting in the passenger seat with you? I frowned impatiently. He's just a business partner. What's wrong with him sitting in the passenger seat? Because he gets carsick? Why are you being so pretentious? Fong was stunned as if he had been struck by lightning. So you were that upset? Sick. I grabbed the car keys and got up to leave. Don't go. I was wrong, don't leave me. I heard the sound of someone rushing after me and falling to the ground behind me. Blood, I'm bleeding. After leaving the operating room, Dr. Lee expressed regret that the baby could not be saved. Equation cried uncontrollably and knelt down in front of Dr. Lee, begging him to give him another child. Since you didn't save the baby, let's end it here. Someone take him away. A distraught Fong was sent back to the Fong family. Fong's mother, upon discovering that her long-absent son had not only undergone a sex change, but had also given birth to a child, fainted on the spot. The first thing she did when she woke up was secretly seek medical treatment, and after spending a large sum of money, she managed to get an appointment with Dr. Lee. Miss, do you think I should agree? It's up to you. After all, you have to give the hard-working people some benefits as hush money. In the end, Fong's mother almost exhausted her savings, sold all her personal property, and let her son become a man again. But she was no longer able to bear children. Unexpectedly, Fong still pursued me relentlessly, kneeling at my doorstep begging for my forgiveness. No one was willing to open the door for him, so he knelt there like a door god from morning till night. The neighbors all said that his remorse was evident to heaven and earth. Fong cried until his voice was hoarse, and still he refused to leave, kneeling outside the door shouting my name. This bad guy is annoying. I'll find someone to get rid of him. No bother, I'll go. I was in front of him, and he looked up with joy, crawling and kneeling to grab the hem of my shirt. Yuan, you're finally willing to see me. I really know I was wrong, I regret it, I raised my hand, and he immediately obediently shut up. Don't think I don't know, you want to get back together with me, just because of the Lin family's money. After we get back together, you'll be able to get Grandpa's attention and become the president of Fongshire, relying on the Lin family. You covet the Lin family's wealth and can't bear to end it with me. I returned every word he had blurted out to him, word for word. Fongquan trembled all over, but still clutched my clothes and wouldn't let go. Are the photos of you and Lu Cece lying in the same bed fake? Will the Lu family let you go? You killed my child. You couldn't even handle the plan. What more do you want? Under the heavy blow, Fongxiu let go of my hand and crouched on the ground, howling. I hate you. You ruined my life. Go away. Don't let me see you again. After a while, Fongxiu got up silently and left. Life returned to normal, and I never saw Fongxiu again. After that, I threw myself into my work. Starting from the bottom, I worked my way up to become the vice president I am today. I feel like a fish in water, and I'm very unrestrained. I heard that later Fong Quan, under pressure from the Lu family and Fong's mother, still married Lu Cece. With the help of the Lu family, he gained the favor of the old man and became the president of Fong's as he wished. Because of this, he will always be inferior to Lu Cece in front of her, and he can't hold his head up. After they got married, their relationship was not good and they often quarreled. Lu Cece made him kneel down and apologize in public, and Fong only had to do it with gritted teeth. Some people said that Fong really loved Lu Cece and was willing to do something so humiliating. Some people said that Fong had traded one disaster for another by divorcing Lin's daughter and living a life of being at the mercy of others. Some people said that Lu Cece was really happy to have met such a husband who was willing to pamper her. Only she knows the hardships and bitterness of it all. After the death of the old man, the company, which had no one in control, completely fell apart. The shareholders fought over their respective territories and things became a mess. Formula had no natural talent for managing the company, so naturally he couldn't hold things together, and the company was in a precarious situation. He returned home dispirited, and stumbled upon Lu Cece having an affair with another man in the bedroom. Hanging on the bed was their wedding photo. So what if I cheated on you, you hen that can't lay eggs? Don't think I don't know you've changed sex and got pregnant before. Now you're neither man nor woman. You really disgust me. Shut up. In a rage, Fong killed Lu Cece by accident and was sent to prison. The Lu family, of course, didn't let go of the Fong family, and soon annexed the Fong group, driving the Fong family out of the villa. But that's no longer my business. Sister, just take me with you. You've been away on business for so long. What if I miss you? The man in front of me blinked his big, watery eyes and swung my arm around coquettishly. What are you going to do? You're tired from the trip. Just wait for me at home. I pinched Gu Ming's cheek and dragged my luggage to the airport. When I sat down, someone came over to chat me up. Sorry, I already have a boyfriend. That's okay, you're not married. The person sitting next to me suddenly put his arm around my waist and slipped a ring onto my ring finger. Now you're my fiancé. Gu Ming rested his head on my shoulder and watched as the man who had hit on me left. Fiancé. Fiancé. Our hands were clasped together, the two rings gleaming.